Most of us are familiar with the smash hit AMC program The Walking Dead and the comic series it was based on. That's most probably why you are watching this review, and I'm afraid to say early on, this game is no diamond in the rough and it's simply a disgrace to share the name of the hit comic and TV show. I'll be honest, just from viewing the trailer I wasn't too optimistic heading into this game, but my love for the TV series spurred me on, in hopes of discovering a great story or gameplay mechanics. Since I've heard a lot of people were playing this game due to the story factor, myself included, it makes sense to start with that. Not to reveal any major spoilers, but the story is bare bones, I mean extremely minimalistic. It's almost like it was written by a 3-year-old. The game is designed as a type of prequel to the TV show, following Daryl from the point of outbreak. We start the game as Father Dixon, the man who seeded Daryl and Merle into this world, but don't get too comfortable. This was a very poor attempt at a very linear tutorial level, which is poorly put together and soon ends with your uncontrollable death.
What in the hell, Dixon?
So, with Daddy dead in a walker-infested ditch, Daryl sets out to find Merle, which takes up a large majority of the game. Along the way you'll find survivors who may offer tasks or simply want your help in surviving this apocalyptic nightmare. I'm talking about the game here, not the setting. So in a nutshell, besides interacting with random survivors who are for the most part skippable, you eventually find Merle and the objective shifts to reach an evacuation zone to escape. Yeah, the story is that bad.
Daryl, get to the gates.
In this day and age, we expect good visuals in our games. I mean, sure, they're not essential to a title's success, but having some eye candy can seriously dull the pain of a bad game. I feel this more so as a PC gamer. The game has very limited options as regards to increasing the quality, which makes almost no difference, and the graphics show signs of a very bad console port, and I'm not talking a 2013 port. This game looks like Condemned from 2005, even with the so-called extra settings enabled. I might be acting a little too harsh on the game's visuals though, as it's not all bad. Most of the weapons have nice detail, especially Daryl's signature crossbow. His hands even look detailed. The same goes for most other character models, they're not too badly done besides a few duplicates. Merle and Daryl almost look identical to their real world actors.
Little help over here? Just hold on. I'll get you out. Hang tight for me, okay?
We also get a little cool but soon annoying feature, which is sweat running down the screen the moment you begin to sprint. I mean, why? We don't need to see that, and I don't know anyone who instantaneously sweats buckets the second they start to sprint. The walkers also stand out from the crowd. They may not be a graphical masterpiece, but they don't look like shit either. Alas, there's always someone who crashes the party and brings the mood down, and in survival instincts, it's the world objects. Seriously, the amount of times I walk past zombies eating unidentified square objects with textures even the N64 would laugh at was unbelievable. Buildings can be a hit or miss, as some have good textures while others look like you threw acid on them. There is very little consistency, and that drags over to performance. Knowing that my rig can handle games like Skyrim with a plethora of HD texture mods installed and still produce lag-free gaming, it infuriates me when a game such as this struggles so much. The performance was extremely inconsistent. At times I'd have a smooth 60 FPS with VSync enabled, and then it suddenly dipped to something like 4 FPS for a split second, which may not seem bad, but it did get me killed once, the only time I actually died. If that wasn't bad enough, I was also suffering from random micro stutters, and I'm not using SLI or Crossfire. Believe it or not, this game actually gave me a headache and eye strain after just a short time of play. I was popping pain pills like Max Payne just to get through to the end. I almost shat myself laughing when I read that the Infernal engine was built from the ground up to take advantage of today's complex hardware. Yeah, right. If this is the best terminal reality can come up with, please shut your doors. I'm being so critical because all of the other performance issues aside, my game randomly crashed to desktop several times, making me lose all progress on the mission because of the game's awful save and checkpoint system. Now I get what you're thinking, all that rest aside, but killing zombies is always fun and never gets boring. Wrong, I'm afraid. The combat in this game is laughable. You can kill even groups of walkers with just your knife if you know what you're doing without breaking a sweat. What's even worse is that you cannot even choose a difficulty level, so you are stuck with these mindless, badly coded walkers who simply cannot kill you. You have two levels of approach depending on your personal style, stealth or Rambo. The TV series and the game teaches that stealth is key and making noise is bad for your health. Well, not really in this game. Although if you insist, the game does offer ways to distract walkers by throwing glass bottles and flares, although you have to watch where you're walking so you don't hit something like a trash can. But being stealthy is just a waste of your time, as you can easily run through levels and dispatch the walkers with little effort, even more so when you get more powerful weaponry. Once you find some ammo, which is easy to come by, you can take out an entire horde if you found yourself in that situation. But of course, guns are loud and attract more walkers to your present position, right? Well, yeah, they do, but you only need one round per zombie, which makes this no problem. You can even kill multiple zombies with one shot depending on the weapon used. If you don't like guns, then you'll find a nice range of melee weapons throughout the game, which deal with the walkers just as easily. If you have a walker attacking, just shove, knife, or just use fast attacks and they can't do a thing. Multiple walkers? Not a problem, just knife then strafe, rinse and repeat, no challenge at all. Now I can hear some of you, what about a stealthy lot, who like to creep and not get seen? More of a challenge, right? Wrong again, you can execute any walker from behind with one simple press, which is always the same move more or less, which gets tiresome very quickly. And then when you eventually get the crossbow, very late in the game I might add, you become even more powerful. It's the weapon everyone wanted to use, but with retrievable bolts and the fact that it's silent, you can take out a horde and not be seen with ease. You start to have some fun with the thing, but you soon realise you've become a god in an already placid environment. Another bad gameplay choice, in my opinion, is too much hand-holding via the compass. The horrible, ugly rendered little thing always shows you where to go, unless you're just scavenging with no goal. This totally takes any exploration out of the game, as most will more than likely head straight to the objective. Although I have to say Terminal Reality did have some good concepts for the game, but they were very poorly executed. As I mentioned, you can find survivors along your journey and help them if you desire. Some will award you with supplies, others will offer to join you. The survivors don't actually accompany you during missions, which was disappointing. You have various options for them in the travel hub, which is seen before each mission, a place to choose equipment and manage survivors. You can look at their traits, such as sneaky, tough, or prefers blunt weapons for examples. These all have uses, as you can choose to send them out for supplies such as fuel, which you need to get to missions, food, which is required to heal you and your companions, ammo, which is self-explanatory, or just tell them to remain in the car and keep safe. The more survivors you send out to scavenge, the lesser the risk for the group task. Giving them preferred weapons will also decrease that risk, as well as their traits. If the risk is high, they could come back with damaged health that you'll need to heal, or they may not come back at all. But other than this, they are useless. There is no emotional attachment whatsoever, and you simply do not care about them. You basically travel down the map to reach your end goal, and occasionally you get a fork in the map, an option to visit one location or the other. You also get free options when you've chosen your destination. Backroads, which uses a lot of fuel, but you have a much lower chance of breaking down and more chances to stop and scavenge for supplies. Then we have streets. This is sort of the middle ground of the three, offering medium risk to break down and to find supplies. Finally, there is highway, which may be your popular choice as you use the least amount of fuel, but you do break down often, requiring parts like tyres, batteries and radiator hoses. This slight choice of which route you take does add some replay value to the game, but you wouldn't want to replay it in the first place, so it doesn't bring that much to the table. And then we have the Grapple System, which I did like at first, but as with quick time events they get tiresome after a few occasions. You'll randomly catch walkers simply stood on a corner, placed there, waiting to grab you to try and shock you with a grapple. Now this shock tactic is cheap and only works the first time at best. You will learn to creep around corners to find them, waiting there ready to be killed. And if you happen to have a horde corner you, get ready for every single walker to grapple you. You kill one, another one lags onto you, over and over, the infinite grapple. This is a double-edged sword, as you can easily survive a full horde this way, or die if you mess the timing up too much and your health slowly dwindles. It's so stupid though, as if this happened in the TV series, they wouldn't wait their turn, they'd all be on you at once and you'd be torn apart as we've seen before. You'll even see some walkers faking dead, so to speak. Wait, they're already dead, so how can they... It doesn't matter. This can be avoided by walking up and knifing every suspect you see. Problem solved. It's not all bad though, as one of the praises I can offer this game is the soundtrack. The zombies sound more or less perfect, and do make you more cautious when wearing surround sound headsets, even causing slight panic if you're surrounded and trying to dispatch them one by one. And of course, the title screen / intro is one of the best parts. Just hearing that epic Walking Dead score uplifts you, if only momentarily. Although I can't forget to mention the excellent voice acting by Norman Reedus and Michael Rooker, which makes the game slightly more bearable. And yes, we have even more problems, as even the controls feel clunky and slow. If I raise the sensitivity to accommodate my guns, the melee would be slow, while if I raised it for the melee, I would do a complete 360-degree turn by just twitching my hand, which is never good. The final nail in the game's coffin is the Relics. You obtain these by reaching the end of the game with specific survivors, and then they'll unlock for use in your next playthrough. Problem is they're basically cheats, and would make you more powerful than Q from TNG. Let's see how many people know what I was talking about there. Some examples of relics would be the ability to start the game with the overpowered crossbow, or even unlimited ammo. Yeah, why should I scavenge now? And silence weapons. Oh, so even more overpowered than my crossbow now. Great. Activision should be ashamed for letting this through, but from the publishers of COD, what did you expect? In fact, this game would have been much better if they hired Treyarch to simply use the resources of Black Ops 2 and change the game to fit the world of The Walking Dead. Sure, it would be called a COD clone, but it would be far superior to what it is now. So overall, would I recommend this to anyone? The answer is no. Not even to a fan of the series. It's just too bare bones to even enjoy any story. It could all be watched on YouTube in 5 minutes. Why waste the money? I don't normally support this as developers deserve the money for their product, but if you must play this, head over to the Pirate Bay and save yourself some money. I really feel sorry for the console players who would have paid more than double the PC version for such a garbage excuse for a game. Seriously, my score is generous, believe me.